Hello, my name is Eduardo and today I am here with another tutorial for Thunkable or App Inventor or AppyBuilder. Well, for this tutorial we are going to do something very simple, that it's like a kind of scrolling thing. Okay, so I am planning to make again another kind of scrolling game. Okay, so well, the idea it was just to work with this and check if this is the idea. We're going to have here this scrolling thing. I have here 5 different sprites. They are in canvas and the canvas is inserted in an horizontal arrangement as a container. Well, the idea, it looks pretty simple, but it was quite hard for me. Okay, and just before we start the video, because I have to prepare everything, okay, I was like struggling or having some problems with this, okay, because as you know, I'm just like learning. Well, I will show you just this, okay, so this is all the mess, so that is all the blocks that I have in here. So every time I prepare a tutorial, I just start like working with the blocks and then just dragging, trying to experiment. Okay, if you have check, I have here some blocks that are not very useful, so I am just trying, testing and many things. Okay, so it looks very messy, I know, so I have to clean this and I'm going to start with the tutorial. I just wanted to show you that. Okay, so it's pretty fun. Well, I will see you in some time. Well, I guess we are ready to start with the tutorial. I just try to clean some things, okay? Anyway, so the first thing that we need to do to work with the tutorial, it is to go and create the images or the tiles for our background. So in this case, I went to Inkscape and then I just made here like a rectangle that it's going to simulate that it's my canvas. Imagine that this is my canvas. So the important part, it is this, the width, it is 512. So I use this size, okay, just to figure it out, the size of these blocks. Then I just check that my blocks are 4 times the size of the width of my canvas. So that's why I created an extra block. Okay, so now you have here the extra block. The idea with this, it is that when we start this scrolling thing, it will start like moving, and when it get to the limit, it will reset the position. Okay, the first element to the last part. Okay, so and then it will continue moving, and then it will go here. So basically that it's the idea, okay, for this kind of infinite scroll. Okay, so well, now you export your images, okay, as individual files. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and remember 128 times 128 because it's like squares. Okay, I guess it will be fine for you. If you check, I just import them here in Thunkable. So I have my files and that's it. Well, it is over there. Well, no preview, but don't worry. Just for you to check, I have here the images. So with this, I will share this if this video gets to 20 likes. Anyway, we're going to continue. I created a new screen just to work with the project since the very beginning. The first thing that we are going to do, it is, don't forget that because you are in screen 1, well, supposedly, set this to responsive because we are going to work with percentages. So, well, now I will go to screen number 2. Now in screen number 2, I will change the color of the background, maybe, probably to something, let's see, light gray, red, orange, line, I guess line, it's okay. So now let me go to this for you to see. Let me organize this, guys. So we have here the screen, the companion. Now we are going to change probably the center, and then we're going to go for this default or whatever you want. In this case, it's not important. Then screen, the orientation, I will set it to portrait mode. Then we need the container for the canvas, so we are going to drag an horizontal arrangement. So we are going to set this horizontal arrangement for the height. What about 50% of the size, or 60? I guess 60% it will be okay. And for the width, we're going to set it to 80%. So here we have the area for the canvas, and then we're going to drag a canvas. It is important that the horizontal arrangement is center. Canvas will be set to fill parent and to fill parent. Okay, so now canvas, it is in here. Now we're going to need some images for this scrolling, or for this scroll I use 5 images. So you drag 1, 2, 3, 4 sprites. You can rename them, or you can use these default names. I guess for now we are going to set them like that, and we're going to assign the pictures. Go to picture, select the sprite number 1, none, set it to 1, picture 2. The idea is that I am planning to make this kind of scrolling game probably, if I have some time. But well, the first thing is to start with scroll, right? And 5. We have the 5 beautiful images. So now we're gonna go to the blocks right now. I guess everything is well, we are going to need a clock to move everything. Okay, so we just drag it in here, we disable the clock, we set it to 48. It's okay for now. Let's go to the blocks. Now the first thing that we need to do, okay, to work with this tutorial, it is to sorry, quite slow sometimes. It's my computer. Well, the first thing that we need to do is to work with these images as a group. Okay, we're going to use them, or we are going to make a list with all of these sprites. So for that, we're going to create a variable, and we're going to call it sprites component. So I use this name just because we are grouping all of these sprites that we're going to affect at the same time. So we're going to set this to an empty list, and when we start the screen, when we initialize the screen, let's set the variables in here. When we initialize the screen, we are going to add to this empty list all of these sprites. So we're going to add to the sprites list component. We're going to add, go to the image sprite number 1, select it, go to the bottom and drag this, just the name, that is image sprite. Then we go to 2, 3, 4, and 5 items. We duplicate these ones, or you can say Ctrl C, V, Ctrl V, Ctrl V, Ctrl V. Then we just make sure that we are just using the names 3, 4, and 5. So we have the 5 images. Okay, when we initialize, then we need to change the size of the canvas. If you remember in my example, it looks like it disappears the sprites because the canvas will be bigger than this container, this arrangement. Okay, so for that we're going to go to canvas width, we're going to set the property, and we're going to set the property based on the horizontal arrangement that it's the container. So to do that, we're going to use math, and we're going to multiply the value, okay, the horizontal arrangement with And because we want this thing, if you remember in the Inkscape example, if this is 25, 25, 25, 25, it is the 100% of the width, but we want to have it bigger. So we want to have a space here for the last thing and one space here for the new block. Okay, so 25 plus 25, it is 50%. 50% plus 100, it is 150%. So that is the idea. We need a canvas that is 100%. So how to do that? Well, we are going to multiply the horizontal arrangement times 1.5, and that's it. In that case, we are going to resize. So canvas will be bigger. Okay, that the thing that we actually can see through the horizontal arrangement. Now we are going to use another thing. When we place the sprites, we are going to set the first sprite to the position of the horizontal arrangement. Which is the position? Well, again here, if you check, when we center everything in the container, let me just move this thing to the back. Let's suppose that this is my horizontal arrangement, and it's smaller, remember? But the idea is like that, more or less. And canvas, of course, it is bigger, more or less like this. This is the idea. This is the canvas and this is the horizontal arrangement. So now we need to place this image in here. It is not in 0. 0 will be here. 0 in X will be this point. Okay, because the 0 it's on the left. So we need to place it 25% of the canvas to the right. So that's the idea. So this is the initial value that we need, and we're going to call it initial X position. Okay, let's call sprite X position, and we're going to set it, as I told you, okay, to the 25% of the horizontal arrangement. So now we initialize the variable. We set it to 0 because we cannot use some things in when we initialize variables. But as soon as we start the app, we are going to set this or modify this, and we're going to use this duplicate the horizontal arrangement. We're going to use the percentage 0.25. That means that it's going to move the first sprite to the 25%. Well, that is the value that we're going to use. Now, what's next? Now we need to, after we size the canvas or set the size of the canvas, we need to set the size of these sprites. So that's the next thing, and we're going to create a procedure, and we're going to call it size sprites, and we're going to start with this procedure like this. Because we have this list of this component, we can use now for each, okay, and any component blocks. So first we go to building, and then we use control. We use for each item. Here in for each item, we're going to change this to block. For each block in the list that we created with all the sprites, global sprites component, okay, the sprites component. So I want to modify the width property of all of them. We go here to any component, we select any image sprite, and we go to width. Set image sprite width. We drag this, the current block, to, and we are going to say use percentages. Okay, so, and remember, every block, it will be like 25% of the horizontal arrangement. So well, we are going to set the width for all of them to 25% of the horizontal arrangement. Now for the height, well, in this case we are going to use the same value because this is a square, so we just calculated the width. So we are going to use the width. We go to any sprite width, and we are going to drag the width block. quick guess. And in that case we will make a perfect square. Okay, now we are going to drag the size thing here, and that's it. We can also position the sprites right now, but I'm having some problems with that. I will tell you later. Well, I will show you what I mean. So for example, if I want to place them, okay, so I'm going to modify the X and Y position. So we're going to duplicate this one, and we're going to change from width to X. And then here the value, it will use the initial sprite X position. So it's going to place it, okay, what I told you that it will be in here. Okay, now the next thing, it is to position the Y position. The Y position, let's put it here. Y position, let's use for the Y, let's use the horizontal arrangement high. So that means that it will push all the blocks to the bottom of the horizontal arrangement, or the chemis. That's the idea. Okay, so now for this part, as I told you, it will place the first one in here, but now for each it is a loop. So now we don't want to place one over another, okay, so it will be like not very good. So we need to update this global initial sprite position every time we run this loop. So we are going to go here and drag this global initial sprite. After we position the first one, we are going to update the value, and we're going to increase it. We're going to increase it plus the image sprite X, okay, I mean the current image sprite. We go to any component, we go to any, we drag here block, it is always necessary from the current block, then plus the width. We are going to duplicate this one, and then we just set this to width. Check the initial position, it will be the refresh, okay, that it will move these things to the right, the next one to the right, and then to the next one, to the next one. Okay, well, now what's next? I guess there is one thing that we need more. Okay, so I need to detect which is the last sprite. Well, first let's refresh the screen and let's see what's happening now when we start the app. Okay, quite working. Okay, the thing that we need now, if you check the position, it is not like correct. So we have sometimes this kind of problem where we handle different things, okay, or sprites, or a bunch of sprites. So to try to fix that, we are going to drag this into another procedure, and we are going to call this procedure position sprites, and we're going to drag them over there, but they have to be inside a for each. Remember, for each we call this block, and we inserted it in here. Always it's using for each, okay, because we are handling a group. Well, now we are going to refresh everything. We go to the blocks, then we just check what is the initial, yes, size sprites, position sprites. Check here, there is a mistake. The width, it is set correctly, but then again the width, no, it is the height. So watch out with these mistakes, guys. It's pretty common. Sometimes you write me and say, hey, I have this problem, this is not working. Sometimes these are these little things, okay, when we duplicate and we omit things. Well, we size them correctly, and then we need to position them correctly. Right now, I'm going to just run it, okay, then we are going to insert it in something else, but we are going to use position. And that's it. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it is in here. in this dark area that we cannot see. Well, anyway, then I will explain you another thing. But now what is next? I need to detect which is the last sprite. So the last sprite, for that we are going to create another variable and we're going to call it the last sprite. At the beginning we know that the last sprite, it is sprite number 5, so we select it, we go to the bottom and we're going to set it, but we cannot set it in here. You have an error, so you are going to set it this to an empty text, and when we load everything after we size and position, we are going to set this image sprite to 5. This is the initial value for global last sprite, just to know which is the last one, because it's going to help us position this one when it gets to this limit. Okay, so now we're going to start the moving procedure. Okay, so to start moving, we are going to create here, let's just drag this because I'm going to use it. Let's create another procedure and let's call it move sprite. Move sprites, or scroll. Let's call it scroll. Move scroll. And then for this we're going to use another for each because we're moving all the things, and we're going to call this block. You can call it any name you want. Then you just drag the list, which is the list of blocks. Well, it is the sprites component, all the list of sprites. Then for this we are going to use a condition and we're going to check something, but we need to check also the clock. The clock is the one that is going to move this, so let's just keep this thing here, and then we're going to check the clock. We use this and we're going to move it to this part. So clock, it will be like refreshing everything. So we are going to use also another for each, and we're going to set it to block from the same list, that is the component list, and then we're going to go for the position. We're going to update the position with the clock of all the sprites. So we're going to go here in image sprite and we're going to go to the X position. So you can use here of component block, remember, and then we are going to update the position and we're going to do it like this. We're going to use math position. We're going to set the image sprite from all the from the current element that is in the loop. We go for block plus and then we're going to move everything based on the percentage. So I want to move everything 1% of the size of the horizontal arrangement. That means that if we have a bigger screen or something, okay, it will be like moving at the same speed or whatever. Okay, so to do that we're going to just move this. Let me check if this is a little bit big, but I hope that it's not. I will make this thing here bigger. So we're going to update this position, the current position, plus again math based on the percentage of the horizontal arrangement. So for the percentage, we know we are going to use horizontal arrangement with times 0.01. Now if we do it like this, it will move everything to the right because the values in X get bigger to the right. So we want to move everything to the left. So I'm going to change this to minus 1%. So it will be like updating this position minus 1%, okay, of the width of the canvas. Now if we activate the clock, we can see what's happening right now. Let's drag here a clock, enable the clock, just to see what's happening right now. We set this to true, and we are going to do it. If you check, it is happening, but it is not resetting the position. Why? Well, that's why I created, let me just set it to false. That's why I created this condition in the move scroll. The move scroll, it will check when we get to this limit. Okay, so we're going to use here an if, if the position in X of the current block it is equals to 0, so that means that get to the left, the not visible part of the left, so we want to reset the position, but we want to reset the position based on the last sprite. Okay, so we're going to change this sprite that got to the limit, or to the left, to the edge of it, okay, to the left edge. We are going to change its position. We are going to go here, set image sprite X. This was the part that took me the most when I was preparing this tutorial. Okay, so it took me like 2 hours or more, guys. Anyway, but we get here to block, and this is the interesting part. We're going to place this to the last sprite. Okay, so to do that, we are going to go here, image, we're going to duplicate this again, but we are not going to get the block. We are going to select, we're going to go to list, select list item, because we want to place it, as I told you, in the last position. Okay, so we know that the first time, the last sprite, it is the sprite number 5. So we're going to go to list, in the list of the sprites, check the index, and the index, tell me which is the index, okay, of which thing? Well, the thing that we just saved at the beginning, the last sprite. So the last sprite in the same list. Then it will get me to the position of the last sprite, but I don't want to be over this sprite. I want to move it to the right, so I'm going to increase this value plus, and we're going to increase it in here, plus, let's duplicate this one, and we're going to change the property to width, plus the width. So in that case, we will move it next to the last sprite. So again, let's check it. So if any sprite get to the limit, so to 0, remember that the canvas is bigger, it is not like visible, all the canvas, then it will reset the position to the last sprite. We know that the last sprite is 5, so we get it, and the position of the last sprite, but not over this. We are going to move it to the right, plus the width of this sprite. Okay, so width, and then it will move it. Now we need to update now which is the last sprite. Right now the last sprite, it will be the current sprite that is running the loop, the one that got to the limit, okay, that it's going to back. So we just drag here last sprite and we get the block, and that's it. That is pretty much the thing with this. So what else? Let me go here, let's refresh everything. We are going to set it to 48 right now. Then we just need to manually position the sprites. So let's position the sprites using this. And then let's enable the clock. I don't know where it's my block about enable the clock. Oh, sorry, I drag here something that is not necessary. It's here. So just let's enable this and let's see if we have a loop. Oh, it's not happening. We have a mistake over because this detector for the limit, it is not inserted in the clock. So every time the clock runs, we need to check, or it's like trying to detect if we are getting to the limit. Okay, so you just drag this thing to move position sprites, move scroll. Yes, it's okay in here, and that's it. So we call it move scroll, but it's probably detect edge. Oh, sorry. Last sprite. Detect and update the last sprite. Basically, that is the idea. If you check now, we have here this scroll, and it's working right now. Now, about the position sprites that is not working, well, you can do many things, okay, to fix that mistake. So probably you can use canvas touch. Okay, so when we touch canvas, so when we start the game, or well, the app or whatever, let's create a variable, call it ini sprites. Let's call it like that, and let's set it to false. So let's say that at the beginning, when we start, it is not set. So now, when we touch the canvas, okay, we are going to position everything, but just one time. So we are going to go here, and we're going to check if the variable that we just created is like a switch, okay? So the ini sprites, it is equals to false. We're going to set this variable to true, obviously, because now it's like on, and we're going to call this thing, just in the case that this is false, and it will do it just one time, I guess. So we refresh everything. We go here. Just let me make this thing smaller. Then we touch this, and it's placing these things. So now we are ready. So now what happens if it's true? Well, probably we can activate the clock. Now it is true. We just activate the clock. And that's it. And that's the way you create this kind of illusion, okay, of infinite horizontal arrangement. So what about if you want to have this faster scroller? Well, you just modify the position. Remember that it's based on the percentage. So we go to the clock, I guess. Clock timer, probably no minus 1%. Okay, so this is just the 1% of the horizontal arrangement. But what about the 5%? So if you check, we have here kind of something that you can see, okay? It is because of the speed, and probably we can fix this, making this bigger, okay, instead of 150, but I guess it's okay for me right now. It looks like functional. Okay, so, well, I guess that's all for this tutorial. Sorry about before I go, okay, so I just tried to make something because maybe you were not very happy with that thing that it looks like kind of like this white space. Well, to fix that, okay, think about, we need to make bigger the canvas, so I just will show you this. So now let's suppose now that we have the original, it's 5, 5 blocks, okay? But we are going to add an extra block. So we are going to have 6 blocks. And the canvas will be 7 times the blocks. So if we have 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, we know now that is 175. Okay, so to do that, we are going to modify this property here in the blocks for the canvas. So in the horizontal arrange, the first thing about, you need to add a new sprite, image sprite, and then you upload the new image. Okay, that now I add the 0. Then in the blocks, you go here and the list of sprites, you add an extra slot for the image sprite 6. Okay, that is the new one. Now about here, the only thing that we need to modify, it is the 1.50 to 1.75. Then you just have the same thing, and also update, instead of having the file the last sprite at the beginning, it will be the sprite number 6. And if you check this thing with this kind of modifications, I just modify this to enable the clock when we touch down, and disable the clock when we touch up, just for the example. So we check, and now check. It's not showing this kind of connection that it's happening because sometimes it is really fast, the movement. Okay, so this is probably happening in here, but we cannot see that part. So I guess it looks better. So I just wanted to return for this, okay, just to show you that part, okay, how to fix it, and it was really easy. Another thing that you can do that I didn't show you is that you can modify the size of your horizontal arrangement, okay. So talking about, what about if we want to set it to 60%, and that's it, updates automatically. Okay, so that's pretty cool if you want to change the size of your game. So well, now I am ready to really go. Okay, so I hope you like the tutorial, friend. Okay, please don't forget to like the video if you found it useful, and if you are planning to make a scroll game, okay, so check my Mario Run tutorial. I guess I will try to improve that if we continue with these videos. Okay, so my name is Eduardo. I will see you next time. Goodbye.